It's day 90 of 118 days with the Tudors, and today we are thinking about 1574. And in this year, Elizabeth I passes a sumptuary law to say what people can and can't wear. This isn't the first time Elizabeth has done this, and it's not even the first time that a Tudor monarch has done this. In 1510, Henry VIII passed an act saying what people can and can't wear, and this was in fact based on previous laws that had been passed in the century before. So this is nothing new as such. She has passed various ones throughout her reign, but this one is significant because it's the first time that it not only refers to the various male positions in society, Earl, Duke, etc. It also refers to their wives and the wives of their children. So it's including women in this act. We also, in fact, get later ones, and in 1580 we see it also refer to the size of things, so the size of ruffs and also the size of swords and daggers. But this one in particular is talking about the men and their wives and what they can and can't wear. Now, Elizabeth loved uniformity. She loved that control. Maybe it's an English thing. I mean, we still have uniforms in our schools. Maybe it's an inbuilt thing in the English to love a bit of uniformity. I don't know. But she liked uniformity and she liked etiquette. She liked things to be done in a certain way. So she was really hot on this. But there was also another reason. They did want to be able to look at a person and know, what part of society they were from. When foreigners came, they wanted to be able to tell, what rank a person was, but it was more than that. What they found was happening was that because people wanted to look maybe from a category of society that they didn't belong to, say that they were lower down, they wanted to dress like somebody higher up. What was happening was they were buying these expensive clothes and then getting themselves into debt, getting their families into debt, and the knock-on effect of that is then more crime to try and get themselves out of debt. So Elizabeth expressed concern that there's these young men running around wanting to dress outside of their station, almost not actually being able to afford that, getting into debt and then committing crimes as a result of this. You've also got the issue that England's economy wasn't doing so brilliantly and they wanted to keep money in England, so she wanted to restrict buying sort of fancy foreign clothes and just buy things that you saw in England, even to the point where you see them saying that you should only be wearing fur from animals that actually exist in England. So we see a real restriction on things like leopard fur, for example. Once this has been printed, this proclamation has gone out, people are given 12 days to kind of get up to speed with this. And she says she expects the influential people of the country to set a good example and follow it. So the people of her council, people at universities, people in the church, she wants to make sure they are following it, so they're setting a good example for everyone around them. Now, men's and women's was very, very similar in terms of the fabrics. In terms of the fabrics and the colours that you couldn't use, it was very similar across men and women. There are certain things that only the monarch, the monarch's children, and the mother of the monarch and possibly the siblings of the monarch were allowed to wear, and that was the colour purple, which I'm sure you're probably familiar with, cloth of gold and sable fur. So they really were restricted to a select few. And also you couldn't have any gold or silver on your clothes unless you were of that group or a duke or duchess, or in fact anything above a viscount. No one could wear woolen cloth that came from outside England unless it was on a cap, so that's applying to men there really. All of that kind of peerage group, so Knights of the Garter and up, and the Privy Council and their wives and children were allowed to wear velvet, crimson and scarlet, and they were allowed a little bit of leopard fur. This was obviously quite popular because it seems to be referenced quite a lot. Poor leopards. Also say that that group were allowed some gold trim. So not quite the heavy embroidery, but a bit of gold trim. There was also some exception if you were not of that rank, but you were kind of waiting on a king or a queen. So they might have a bit of an exception there in what they wanted you to be wearing. It also says that this group and above, the Knights of the Garter and above, were the only ones that were allowed kind of decoration on their horse and were allowed velvet saddles. And here we have some specific people. So the Lord Chancellor, the Treasurer and the President of the Council and the Privy Seal could wear velvet, satin, silk, but not purple. And then the rules for the women are basically the same. So if they're a wife of one of these people or a wife of one of the children of these people, the rules generally apply, but it also applied even down to their petticoats, the bits that can't even be seen. You can't be sneaking in some leopard fur into your petticoat without getting in trouble if someone finds out. You also do see the ladies of the bedchamber are given some of these privileges as well, and I'm sure Elizabeth was very strict on exactly what she allowed her women to be wearing. So there you go. These are the laws in 1574. As I said, there's been previous laws, but these ones really focused in on the wives. Possibly, you know, with a woman on the throne, we're a bit more aware of this. So there's a few reasons for this. People want to be able to tell what rank someone is by looking at them. You know, someone's wearing purple, you're not going to mess with them. They wanted to keep it in-house, shop local. They were trying to help the economy by just buying fabrics and clothes and accessories from England and not sort of outsourcing. Also, were concerned about the rise of crime and people getting themselves into debt, buying their designer horse saddles and then putting their families in debt because they wanted to look a bit better off than they are. We also do see restrictions based on how much what their income is per year. So you may have been allowed to dress a little bit nicer if you were, you know, worth a bit more financially. So there you go. That's 1574. And I will see you tomorrow for 1575 when we'll be talking about the benefit of the clergy. See you then.